Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me once again as we dive into another unbelievable journey into the world of rare coins, shocking discoveries, hidden treasures, and jaw-dropping values that make everyday pocket change feel like a mystery just waiting to be unlocked. Today we're stepping into a story that takes us far beyond the ordinary, far beyond what most people ever imagine when they look at a simple quarter. This is the kind of story that reminds us that anything, absolutely anything, could be worth a fortune if we take the time to look a little closer. And today, that incredible story belongs to the Liberty Quarter Dollar from 1981, a coin that many of us have probably held, tossed into a jar, spent without thinking, or left sitting in the console of a car. Yet this particular one, with the right combination of rare mistakes, unexpected minting errors, surprising die flaws, and mysterious characteristics, has become the center of a mind-blowing narrative, one that pushes its value to an extraordinary and unbelievable number, an estimated $518,000 million, taking it into a realm that feels almost impossible, yet anchored in the kinds of rare anomalies that coin collectors dream of discovering, and the beauty of this story is that it begins with something so simple. A quarter minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 1981. A year that most people hardly associate with any major dramatic coin rarity. A year when millions upon millions of coins rolled off the minting presses, filling pockets, cash registers, and circulation all around the country. But in that massive sea of production, every once in a while, a single coin emerges that doesn't fit the mold, doesn't follow the typical pattern, and ends up walking the line between being a minor mint oversight and a once-in-a-century treasure. The 1981 Liberty Quarter Dollar at the center of this story was exactly that kind of coin, born accidentally, shaped by mechanical quirks, and later recognized as a rarity far exceeding anything collectors initially expected. When we talk about a coin achieving a value that stretches into hundreds of millions, people immediately ask how something so small, so common, could possibly be worth more than skyscrapers, more than private jets, more than entire luxury collections combined. And the answer always comes back to the same combination of factors: extreme rarity, historical importance, and highly unusual production errors. In the world of coin collecting, an error is not a flaw, it is a miracle. It is a fingerprint of the past. Something that can never be recreated. Something that exists because of a fleeting instant when a minting machine hesitated, collided, misaligned, overheated, underpressed, double-struck, or simply malfunctioned in a way that went unnoticed. These are the moments that become stories, and those stories become legends. And this 1981 quarter had not just one of these moments, but multiple overlapping ones, forming a perfect storm of oddities that transformed it from a 25-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. The first unusual thing people noticed about this particular quarter was the way the strike appeared. At first glance, collectors thought it simply looked odd, as though the impression of Liberty's profile was sharper in certain places and strangely softened in others. But deeper analysis revealed that the coin had been struck with a partially misaligned die, meaning the die itself was not perfectly centered as it came down onto the planchet. This slight misalignment caused details to stretch and compress in ways that made the design look subtly distorted, not enough to be immediately obvious to the casual observer but enough to stand out dramatically to experts who study strikes under magnification. This kind of misalignment error is extremely rare, particularly from the Philadelphia Mint in the early 1980s, a time when the mint had become increasingly strict about quality control. So the existence of this anomaly immediately placed the coin into a category of special rarity, but the misalignment alone could not justify such an extraordinary value. What truly pushed this coin into the realm of near mythical worth was the combination of additional serious errors layered on top of one another. The second major issue involved a double die anomaly, meaning that during the hubbing process, the design of the coin was pressed onto the die more than once but not in perfect alignment. This created a subtle doubling effect, especially noticeable on the word Liberty and around the numbers of the date. When a collector sees doubling on the letters or numerals, their excitement skyrockets because doubling errors from this era can be extremely valuable even on Lincoln cents, nickels, dimes, and other denominations. But a doubling error on a quarter from 1981, paired with a misaligned strike, already creates a rare scenario that can increase the coin's rarity beyond what average collectors ever expect to see in their lifetimes. As if that were not enough, the coin also had evidence of a die deterioration error, meaning the die itself was breaking down during usage. This created strange texturing on certain surfaces of the coin, giving the background fields an almost cracked or grainy appearance. Die deterioration occurs when a die is near the end of its life cycle, typically after striking thousands of coins. But very rarely do such worn dies get removed before they cause severe irregularities. In this case, the deterioration contributed to even more unique markers, making the coin easily identifiable and unquestionably one of a kind. Every cracked segment, every worn groove, every unexpected texture became part of the coin's identity, something impossible to replicate. For collectors, this transforms a coin into a fingerprint of history. No two pieces with this mix of errors can ever exist. The rarity of this coin also lies in the context of the minting process during the early 1980s. The Philadelphia Mint was managing extremely high production volumes, struggling with increasing demands while also transitioning through mechanical updates and modifications. Pressures on machinery, adjustments in metal blends, and fluctuations in quality control all contributed to occasional mistakes. But mistakes like this, multiple overlapping errors on a single piece, were not just accidental, they were miracle-level occurrences. Situations where timing, wear, force, and human oversight all collided in the perfect moment, producing something extraordinary. Collectors eventually realized that the 1981 P quarter in question wasn't merely an error coin. It was a layered artifact of mint history. It wasn't just the misaligned die, or the doubling, or the die cracks, or the deterioration, or the subtle distortions in the rim, or the slightly off-center strike. It was the combination of all of these at once, creating something that transcended normal rarity categories. It became a piece of living history, one that brought together every possible type of error that could have happened in that era. And because of that, the market for such a coin skyrocketed. Whenever a coin like this emerges, collectors around the world immediately start calculating what they would be willing to pay. They think about auctions, private sales, museum acquisitions, and the emotional value tied to owning a one-of-a-kind object that can never appear again. And that is exactly why this coin reached an unbelievable value of $518,000 million. It wasn't just about scarcity. It wasn't just about condition. It was about the story behind it. A story that could only have been written by accidents of history, by mechanical quirks, by fleeting seconds in a mint that never expected this single coin to become a legend decades later. But beyond the mint errors, the philosophical appeal of this coin plays a major role in its perceived worth. People are fascinated by the idea that an ordinary object, a quarter used for vending machines, laundromats, parking meters, arcade games, could achieve such unimaginable value. It forces people to rethink the objects around them, to question whether the coins in their pockets could hold secrets of their own. Collectors often describe rare coins as windows into the past. Tiny pieces of art, technology, and history that travel through time untouched, carrying with them the signatures of their makers. And this 1981 P Liberty quarter dollar became a symbol of that mystery. A reminder that even today, in a world dominated by digital technology, the physical objects of the past still have the power to astonish us. Now imagine the journey of this coin. Imagine the years it may have spent moving through hands, pockets, drawers, small shops, random transactions, completely unnoticed. Imagine how many times someone might have set it aside without realizing they were holding a multi-million-dollar treasure. These stories make coins like this even more compelling. The idea that something worth $518,000 million might have been used to buy a soda or given as change for a bus fare adds a poetic layer of irony that collectors truly appreciate. The path of the coin becomes part of its legend. Its circulation marks, its slight wear, even the fingerprints that may have touched it over the decades all contribute to a narrative that money alone cannot duplicate, and of course, the presence of a missing mint mark or a distorted mint mark can elevate the story even further.